Hey guys, it's Two Bricks, and this is going to be part 3 of my T-Rex build series. And would you look at that? She's got legs! She's standing! It's incredible. I did not think I was going to be able to pull that off without the help of any additional kind of artificial stuff propping her up. But no, she's standing on her own 2 feet, and yeah, I couldn't be happier with it. The one compromise I did have to make is that the legs are actually built into the ground itself, and so the internal structure of it goes down into this base that you see right here. And when I get up into the closer details, I'll show you guys a little bit of how that was achieved. But as far as the look of it, I mean, she just looks like an animal standing on the ground, and that's exactly what I was going for. So I'm really happy with how that's turned out so far. So yeah, without further ado, let's get in and take a look at some of the details. All right, so I'll just give you guys a little overview of the details a little bit up closer. It's kind of hard to see with the camera that far back, but she's just that huge that I need to put the camera really far back so you guys can actually take in the whole thing. I kind of transitioned the color scheme from a brown into more of a tan. And I wanted to do that because I just wanted to kind of differentiate the feel of the main kind of leathery back skin and then down into kind of more of the scaly chicken feet of, you know, the bottom. I just felt like denoting that with a bit of a color scheme change would be a cool thing. It turned out fairly well, and I think that it helps it to stand out from the base as well, because I really want to convey the scene from Jurassic Park where the T-Rex breaks out of the paddock. It's a very kind of gray, muddy, rainy scene, and so I wanted the ground to be this kind of, you know, mixture of old gray and new dark bluish gray. And then I didn't want the legs to have that same color to them, so I just kind of picked out the feet details with this dark tan and medium nougat color. So getting a look at the legs from the front, you can ignore this red coloration down here, by the way. I just happened to have a lot of red bricks on hand when I was filling this out, but it's all temporary. So the stand is going to get extended quite a bit in all directions to accommodate the rest of the scene that I'm trying to portray. So this will all get ripped out and replaced with, you know, further stand stuff. Anyway, getting a look at the legs from the front, you can see I have those little extra claws for the vestigial toes that the T-Rex has, and actually a lot of modern animals have those too. Like my dog has them. I feel like chickens have them too. Essentially, it's just a leftover piece from when the animal evolved from a 4-toed thing into a 3-toed configuration, and the evolution didn't really know what to do with those, so just kind of left these little dangling toes, which are kind of funny looking. But yeah, she's got she's in a walking pose, obviously, but I didn't want to have her legs kind of spread out too wide. I wanted it to seem like she's definitely like heading in a forward, kind of give her a lot of forward momentum. So I have the legs essentially coming straight down from where they come off the body, and I think that helps to kind of give her the look of some forward momentum. So one of the funny things is I spent a long time trying to figure out how to get the exact angle that I wanted on the toes, to, you know, coming off of the foot. And after agonizing over different ways to attach them, I realized, wait a minute, I have this whole base right here. Why don't I just simply attach the toes to the base? And that's what I ended up doing. I placed a modified 1x2 plate with a bar coming off of it right here, and then I just have a clip piece that clips into that and just holds the toe in at the exact right angle. Just before I give you guys a look at some of the techniques I used for the legs, I wanted to show you guys a couple of other things that had changed on the model since the last time you saw it. In the previous build, I had mentioned that there was a lot of kind of sag happening in this tail where it was kind of pinching in towards the body, and I had mentioned a solution where I would place an extra Technic beam through here that would be attached in at a 3rd point to the body, and that ended up working out perfectly. And so you can see now it maintains this gap right through here in a parallel way. So the tail is unencumbered and it can just move around nice and comfortably. And the other thing that wound up changing is I once again redesigned these arms. I wanted to get a little bit more of a 90-degree angle to the elbow bend. And previously I had this plate sandwiched in between 2 brown plates for stability, but it was kind of encumbering the movement, and I could only get it to be about, you know, this bent. So I just moved that plate forward 1, and while there isn't anything, you know, holding it in, it's perfectly secure on the 2 studs that are holding it, so I don't really need to worry about that, and then I can get that nice 90-degree bend. And then the other thing I wanted to do, let me just pop this off to show you guys. I wanted to get kind of the tan palms and also the kind of meaty area under the fingers that the T-Rex has. And so I just ended up redesigning the way that the fingers are done, just using a headlight brick and then plugging the claws into that and then being able to put these tan studs on the bottom. And I think that just gives the fingers the right kind of look for the T-Rex. As for the terrain that the T-Rex is standing on, I'm kind of experimenting with different textures and the amount of studded areas versus tiled off areas that I want to have. And I like the look of these dark gray, trans-clear plates to give the impression of kind of puddles and areas where water is pooled up a little more than the muddy areas. And I think that the amount of variation that's in here feels pretty good right now, so I'm probably going to wind up extending this kind of level of, or this kind of pattern throughout the whole thing. And then the other thing I have to add is the track that the Ford Explorer would follow, because since we are depicting the outside of the T-Rex paddock, that's an important thing to represent. And then obviously when I add the Ford Explorer in here as well, it's going to be in its upside down, crushed, tire bitten off formation, so it's not going to be a particularly pretty rendition. But that's going to be towards the front end of the model, so I really wanted to have the track as well. And I'll probably end up replicating a section of wall and fence too to kind of just finish the whole thing off. And I think that'll give a really nice depiction of what is probably one of the most iconic scenes in cinema. So that'll be really exciting. So yeah, that'll be probably for the final kind of wrap-up video in this series. I'll show you guys the finished piece, and yeah, hopefully you guys like it. Okay then, so how was all of this achieved? Well, the first design that I went with was going to rely on these click hinges, which are fairly sturdy, and I thought I could rely on these to get some posability into the legs. Once I had created kind of first template for those though, I realized very quickly that this would not do the job, and it would immediately buckle under the pressure of holding up all of this weight. I even tried at one point to double up, triple up, and even quadruple up these hinges to try to give it enough strength, and yeah, it just wasn't going to happen. So this idea ultimately had to get scrapped. Would have been nice, but fixed angle is what it ended up having to be. So then I came up with using these 45-degree angle beams, and I figured, this would give a good kind of, you could imagine kind of the knee coming off at this angle and then coming down into the ankle. And so I came up with a set of legs that relied on these, and this got close. This system here with two beams on the outside, or two of these rounded beams holding onto Technic bricks, it almost held up, but if I'd have left it standing for more than 5 minutes, the parts would actually buckle and begin to break. But I will say, the engineering of Lego parts is pretty incredible, and I'm really impressed with how well they perform under stress. So this ended up being the final design that I went with. It's an iteration on the previous one, but I've just doubled up the amount of support by having two sets of beams and bars holding everything together. And then the magic Lego mantra of one brick, two tiles, one brick, two tiles. That's like, if there's anything that you should remember as a builder, it's that formula. And what do I mean by that? Well, in order to get these angles to stay parallel and be able to kind of continue throughout, you just stack up one brick and two plates. And then that just gives you the ratio, or the correct spacing, I guess. So yeah, once I created the whole leg structure, I was able to support the weight, or at least it seemed like I could. So then to give it a little bit of extra kind of support to the whole thing, I placed Technic bricks into the gaps in between these beams. And and these are just being attached using 1x3 Technic pins, and these 1x3 Technic bars as well. So that just holds the whole thing together, and it's already fairly sturdy. So then to give it an extra layer of support, I'm using these bracket pieces onto the Technic structure that I've placed in between the beams. And then I can put one above and one below, and that just perfectly lines up and gives me the ability to then place a plate across the top that just gives even an extra bit of clamping, and that just makes it crazy secure. So I use this kind of same technique down throughout the legs, and then when it came to this ankle at the bottom, I ended up just using this 90-degree beam to get it to be supported underneath the ground. And the ankles needed to be a little bit more dainty than this would allow, so I ended up going down to a single beam just for this ankle. This one still has the back has the two beams in it, but it's fairly well hidden, and I feel like you can't really see too much of it sticking out back there. So that works out pretty well. So yeah, this ended up being the winning design. A crazy, crazy strong Lego structure. As for strength and stability and such, I just wanted to let you guys see it's fairly sturdy. I mean, it has a lot of movement in it, but that's mostly due to the fact that there are so many kind of angle changes and different parts that are holding it together in different places, and there's a lot of kind of wiggle room and tolerance in between those areas, but it is really very secure. I mean, you can see, and I can actually pick the whole thing up from, you know, just from the stomach, and the whole base will go with it, and it's not an issue at all. So yeah, she's extremely sturdy, and I can rotate her around and move her and stuff like that. And sorry for all those people who are waiting for a hilarious epic collapse. No, she's pretty strong. Okay guys, so that's going to wrap up the video. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed so far and is supporting the channel. It's been really wonderful to see the response. This channel is obviously less than a month old at this point, and to have the amount of subscribers and the amount of engagement that I've had, it's been really, really wonderful. So thank you guys so much for your support, and I really hope to continue to do gigantic, awesome things to show you in the future, bigger and better all the time. And if you guys did like the video, of course, don't forget to do the old thumbs up, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know the drill. It just helps YouTube to, I guess, place value upon a channel, and if it gets a lot of engagement of that type, then they promote the videos more, so it just helps everybody out. Alright guys, so yeah, I'll see you in part 4 for the final wrap-up of this gigantic build. It's really gotten away from me, but I'm having a real blast doing it, so I'm super happy about it. Alright guys, thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.